Igbo ekele mono. Asina atwa jamahu udele. Amana na him na lande mo. Yes, I still remain your favorite custodian of Igbo culture and tradition. High Chief Awuzie Golden, see the oracle, or the Mbwemeke Mbonambo of the whole Likedru na Lekumebere. Oh yes. In today's episode of Igbo history, we're going to be looking at the truth about ancestral curse in Igbo land. Yes, and the truth about ancestral curse in Igbo land. There is this popular belief in Africa, in Nigeria, and especially in Igbo land that ancestral curses do exist, and it is ancestral curses that have caused a whole lot of underdevelopment in Igbo land and has caused a whole lot of bad happenings in Igbo land. Okay, so in situations of accidents, in situations of rare sicknesses, in situation of a whole lot of bad conditions, both in health and environmental and all that, it is always associated to ancestral curse, especially in Igbo land. So that's what we're going to deal with right away. What's the truth about ancestral curse, and how does it affect a nation as Igbo nation? All right. Now, do you know that the British ancestors went on a killing and conquering rampage all across the world? Do you know that the British Empire was built on the back of conquest and colonization? Do you know that millions of Africans were killed by the British? And even millions of Nigerians, millions of Igbos, millions of people lost their lives. Yes, especially during the slave trade and pre-slave trade era. A whole lot of things happened, and today, the Great Britain is one of the strongest economic forces and strongest nations in the world, and they have flourished and are stable over the years. And there is nothing like ancestral curse based on what they have done, what the forefathers of the British Empire has done. So no consequences, no pain, and the nation is developed. The nation is one of the top nations of the world. That's number one. Do you also know that the United States of America was built on the extermination of a particular race, that's the Native Americans, and the enslavement of another race, Africans? That's why they have the African Americans. Yes. And do you know that the ancestors committed a whole lot of atrocities and unimaginable crime against humanity? And but today they are considered as the #1 nation of the world, and they have a very reasonable living and a very wonderful life, in wonderful environment, wonderful country, and no ancestral curse, no sins of the forefathers is holding them back, is bringing misfortune to the country. Okay? All right. Now, do you also know that King Leopold II of Belgium killed over 15 million Congolese and amputated millions of children for not being able to pick up enough cotton? Yes. This is a cardinal crime against humanity, taking another man's life, and not to mention the number it came with. But today there is no form of ancestral curse or sins of the forefathers that is holding Belgium down. As a matter of fact, Belgium is one of the most developed countries in the world. They have a good life. They have a good living. The standard of living there is very high. Civilization, very civilized and very modern, and they are living well and living good. Did I remind you that Germany committed the most horrific genocide in Namibia? Now, the same Germany caused the World War I, which claimed millions of lives. The same Germany caused the World War II, which took the lives of millions of persons. Did you also remember the 6 million Jews that were killed and those that were killed in the gas chamber? The same Germany that their ancestors did a whole lot of atrocities and committed a whole lot of horrific crimes against humanity. But do you know that today Germany is regarded as one of the strongest nations in the world? Yes, in Europe today, Germany is one of the biggest nations in Europe. Germany is one of the most developed nations also in the world. No ancestral curse, no sins of the forefathers that that they are being visited with. And I think these are people who deserve, if we are to talk about ancestral curses, if we are to talk about sins of the forefathers, I think we should also think of these ones. But look at Germany today. Okay, should we talk about Australia that committed the worst word on talked about genocide? Yes. Now, do you know that the Aboriginal Australians have been wiped out, are almost extinct, and the Tasmanian Australians literally are extinct, and all these things were fostered by ancestors of the present day Australians. And let me tell you, no ancestral curse has hindered their growth and development. No ancestral curse has brought about misfortunes and underdevelopment and mysterious deaths and all that in the country. Australia is also one of the countries that most Nigerians are running to. Now, welcome to my dear Igbo nation, where I'm not going to mention names, where some persons have consciously feasted on the ignorance of people to siphon their treasury, to siphon their funds and drain them of the little cash they have, just because they want to liberate them from ancestral curses. The ancestral curses that have caused accidents, that have caused misfortunes, that have caused late marriages, that have caused a whole lot of things. And they collect your money, collect your cars, collect your lands, just so that they would liberate you from ancestral curses. Now, did that remind you that you do not have any proof of anything that the ancestors have done that would deserve you taking the punishment? What proof do you have? But we believe in ancestral curses. But look at these ones that we mentioned earlier, and these are proof. These are evident ones. These are evident stories about what has been happening, what has happened in time past, and today they are not enjoying, they are not suffering the cost of any action of their ancestors. But here you are. Now, let me tell you something. Our ancestral curse that we need to get liberated from is this. There is this curse, ancestral curse, that has been handed over from one generation to another generation and to another generation. And that curse is bad government. Let me tell you, that's bad government. Do you know that if we were to be enjoying a good government, there are a whole lot of things that have been a prayer point would never be a prayer point in this nation? Yes. Do you know that if we had a functional government, a whole lot of some prayers about sicknesses wouldn't come up, because we have a good and working health system, health sector. Now, did you know that if we have a functional and a working government, we wouldn't be talking about making prayers for some kind of road accidents and all that, but we do that because our road system are bad. Do you know that if we have a good and working system of government, that a whole lot of things that we are suffering from and thinking that these things are mysterious, which are actually caused by pollution and bad water, bad air, bad things that we take in here, bad water, bad air, bad food. Do you know that if we had good and working government, those things wouldn't have been a prayer point? Yes, it wouldn't have been a prayer point. Now, ask some of our brothers who are living outside the country. Ask them, do you know that most of them don't even go to church? For those who go to church to receive from God, in quotes. Now, when you travel out of the country, the things that you actually pray for in Nigeria, the things you actually pray for in Igbo land, are things that the government provide and you just receive them. They are called the basic social amenities, and they are everywhere. You just receive them, so you don't have any reason to pray for anything again. Ndibo, wake up. Ndibo, wake up. It is time for us to break this ancestral curse by voting this 2023. This February, we must vote. Because we've taken it so lightly, and we'll blame our so-called ancestors for our misfortune. It is time for us to own up to our responsibilities and take responsibilities for what we've done. If you relax and you don't make vote, and at the end of the day, at the end of the day, another ancestral curse emerges as the president of this nation, you will have more prayer points, you have more liberations, you have more ancestral curses to break, and it will still not work. So please, rise up. Let us break this ancestral curse. This 2023, power must change hand. Yes, get your PVC. Not just getting your PVC for official purposes, and get your PVC and go and vote. Go and vote. Nika football no.